marketing, entrepreneurship, and all things small business. You're listening to the Jurassic Marketing's Triceratalks. Now, here's your host, Justin Miller.
I feel like on the video podcast, we need like an explosion.
I was just thinking about that.
There
needs to be some sort of intro that instead of just us waiting to go on.
Or the dinosaur opens its mouth and then we come out of that.
Is there a budget for graphics?
No,
Any kind
not.
of nothing.
We have a budget for this
Diet
episode brought
Coke.
to you by Diet Coke.
And had some peanuts earlier. Snickers or Planters is the other sponsor. Nice.
All right, we're back. Episode 64. This one's about content creation. Which, God, this game's gotten a lot easier over the years, but you still don't want to put out absolute crap. So we're going to talk about what to write when you don't know what to write. So this is the the Microsoft Word with the cursor blinking screen of death.
And you go,
like, I know I have to get this out, but I don't know what. Not to say we don't have this on the podcast sometimes too.
True.
But consistency and communication is really key to results. So this is important.
Say that one more time so people get that. Soak that in.
Consistency and communication is key to results. And that's a lot of like, hopefully these mics are good.
But that makes sense.
It is, because the whole point is to build trust again.
Yeah.
It's all about trust leading up to the sale, because people buy from people they trust. And then they'll trust you to deliver on the product or service that you offer. So we want to make sure we have content that actually makes a difference. And we have cheat sheets. We have things we go to. We have standbys. We have fallbacks. We also have templates we offer and like content packages. But there's things that you can do on your own that are even more effective than that. I would prefer you fill with stuff we give you and lead with the good stuff that takes you a very short amount of time and boost results infinitely. It's also, here's the unfortunate thing, it's the stuff we can't do for you. I hate saying that on the podcast. Usually the answer is always just hire us.
I would prefer just have someone do it for me. That's
yeah. So this is the stuff that, and you'll see why when we dig in, why we can't write it for you. And one of the places this content is used a lot is the client newsletters. So it's kind of our theme for the quarter. We have the book coming out, and people get stuck on what do I put in the newsletter, because it's a large piece. It's 4 pages. It requires some actual content to fill that. So if we don't know what to write, the first thing we have to remember is you are writing to a person. You're not writing to an audience. We're not talking over them.
One person, much like the radio days. Talk to one person through the microphone.
Hey, all right. Yeah.
I mean, that was ingrained into me from the time I got into radio. Just talk to one person. Don't try to talk to everyone. Just one person.
Yeah. So, if it's a sales piece of copy, you're talking to your ideal customer who hopefully you're picturing a real one.
Oh, that girl I was talking to all those years, she was cute. I mean, she was hot.
That's what they taught you in the radio.
That's right. Think about a hot chick and talk to her. I mean, that was my own interpretation of.
I want to ask you what year that was.
Yeah, no, that was.
That girl is still listening to the radio, too.
She's not as cute. She's not really that cute anymore either.
We made it 2 minutes on this episode before we got off.
That's not bad.
So if it's sales copy, picture the client you're talking to. If it is newsletter type copy, you want personal content. So you want to talk as if you're talking to a friend. And by the way, now I'm off topic again, because now I'm thinking back to like MC workshops I went to when I was in the event industry, and it was the same thing.
Yeah.
It was who you talking to, what's the backstory.
Yeah.
I am not an actor by any means, but I at least understand the process.
True.
So we want to make sure we're speaking personally, one-to-one. You want to make sure that you're talking to the person you want to be talking to, not in bulk over their head. Even this is presentation training too, right? Like,
yeah.
I think the largest crowd I spoke for was like 1,200 or something. And yeah, and you all, and
yeah.
That's not how it works. So in the personal interest stuff, use a informal second person, first person tone, and tell them things you would tell like a human being in your life if you're catching up over lunch. So share updates of what's going on in life. You know, I have a bad tendency that things that occur are kind of, once they're over, I can't remember them anymore. You know, I have like a finite amount of short-term memory that I use up.
In and out. It's gone.
So, you know, what I will do oftentimes is I will either scroll back through my Facebook post for the month, because that's my social that I use and put personal stuff on. Or I will get my iPhone out and I'll scroll back through photos for the month. I'm like, oh yeah, I actually did quite a bit of stuff in this past month, or whatever your frequency is. By the way, if you start with the photos, you already have the photo to go with the story too. So that works really well. So now when you read the newsletter and you get the personal, you know, cover story from me, you know where it came from. I scrolled through my iPhone. I'm like, what would be interesting that occurred, and I have a photo for. Or what did I post on Facebook that people actually interacted and engaged with? And then we bring that to the other media. You can do milestones. They better be like big ones that people can
Understand and relate to?
Yeah, relate to. That's what I was going for. The business content is usually less important than the personal content. This is so hard.
I know. Well, everyone wants to get what they do and their shiny object, and you know they're cool this, and we have this machine, and that.
I mean, you do those updates. They have a purpose. Okay.
Well, they do,
Like,
but do they? They don't create that bond.
yeah. I mean, we expanded the office. Like, I'm gonna put it. I got a picture of it. You know, here's
Yeah.
us tearing down the wall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that it is good stuff, but they care about human beings a little more. I assure you, most people, the type of clients you want, care about human beings a little more.
Yeah.
So personal, one-to-one type writing of content you would share with a friend going to lunch or something, and you're just catching up. And by the way, when you do this, and if you happen to see that person or meet them or have a consult, like, they'll speak to you like you are friends, because in their mind you are, which is kind of creepy. You'll get used to it. Kevin likes fame more than I.
I mean, that comes from the radio thing. I will. It's much easier to close a client who's like, my mom listened to you on the radio. You DJ'd my mom's prom. Now I want you to do my wedding. I'm like,
are you going to make it to where it's 2 generations?
I don't think so. I hope not. No, I'm almost out of it now. So it's like, but it is a situation where they do think they know you.
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
is some sort of personal relationship because they've heard you talk, and they never come in and say, my understanding is you have the best speakers and lighting in the DJ industry. No, they're like, you did my cousin Sue's wedding, or my bridesmaid saw you at somebody's wedding, you know, and they loved it and they raved about it. And when they don't lead with price, which in my industry is the first thing everyone asks. What do you cost?
Well, even if you take price out of it and we go like the medical side of things, which price should be in there, by the way. But
True.
If most people aren't looking at that, aren't going to ask. So what do we go by in that case? Yeah, we might Google for the best, but what content's going to come up? It's going to come up someone else saying you're the best.
Yes.
And here's why.
Yep.
So, you know, that's super important. All right, the number two content to provide if you have writer's block is highlight client success stories. Now, I hate that, you know, we slack off in this a little bit. You actually helped us get up to speed in that.
People love to talk about success in their. I didn't think it would be difficult to pull these stories out of them when we did these interviews. I thought, well, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes later, I'm normally the one that needs to stop talking. They're raving about, well, we did this or we did that, or Justin helped us with this, or what. You're right. Clients like to talk about their successes.
Absolutely. And we've interwoven those interviews, by the way, which you want to offer that as a service. You want to plug? Because I think you did great at this because it went back to your radio days.
It's easy to do. It's like but it's having a conversation. Like those to me were fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I got to talk to you over the computer, and it's super easy. And some of these people are people that I know anyway from the industry.
You were a third party too, and I think that helped.
I think that's true. I don't necessarily, I'm not an insider in your company, but I know your company. And some of the people I talked to, I knew who they were because I've either seen them at events but yeah, I mean, I love doing that kind of stuff. It's like telling narratives. It's like leading people into talking about what works for them. And then people like to talk about their successes, and they like to give credit for who helped them get to that point.
Well, look, even if they didn't plug us directly, the content that came out of those interviews is some of the best content we have. And we've already interwoven it into the newsletter book here that's coming out, or might be out by the time this is posted. We wove that content into our annual magazine, so we had room to feature a couple of them. Don't be offended if yours wasn't featured. We will use it in other areas for sure. And honestly, if I could get enough to make a book, I would, because it is better than anything I could have possibly written about myself or for myself.
Totally. It is the ability for someone to say those things about you. It's more credibility than you saying it about yourself.
Yeah.
It always will be that way.
Yeah, and if you're a tactical type person and you want the tactic, so yeah, we had the interview. We had a few points we were trying to get to come out in the interview, okay?
Yes.
And I believe I used ChatGPT and told it, here, we're doing one-on-one interviews with clients. Here's ultimately, the objections we're trying to overcome or the points we want to hit. Give us the interview questions. And then you had a host or an interviewer that had the ability to adapt on the fly, right? Once we had that recording, we transcribed it. I fed it back into ChatGPT and said, write me a feature magazine article about this success, highlighting this person, what they've said. I also had to tell ChatGPT, by the way, make sure any facts, figures, et cetera, are verifiable from the format, because it wrote great stuff that was completely false.
Nice.
So yeah, we tweaked it that way a little, but what it spit out was great. It was essentially a ready to go white paper or feature magazine story. Minimal effort. Yes, some effort to schedule. Yes, you were on them for, 30 minutes, I would guess, or a little less.
Yeah.
But once it came back to the editing and everything, that was all AI. Like, it was barely any time each, and it was good. So
Well, that's the ability too, and I don't know if you would be able to notice because you probably don't remember which one I did first, but because I had the list of things you gave me to talk about, the first one or two, it was a little more difficult because I had to remember, I had the sheet in front of me. Let's talk about this next and let's move on. By the third or fourth one, it was just me having a conversation, knowing exactly what I was going to ask, and also probably knowing how they were going to respond. And then it was just a matter of digging deeper into their response to get the nugget, the gold, because sometimes they know what they want to say, but they don't really articulate it well.
Yeah.
It's the ability to draw that out of them. So the third, fourth, fifth ones to me were way better than the first one. Even if the first one was a great, person to talk to, I was still trying to figure out the system of pulling it out of them.
Yeah, that's really good from the interview standpoint, too, because you had to get 2 or 3 levels deep, because the first response you got to the question was usually surface level.
Yeah.
Or it was image. Like, they're worried about the image they're portraying of their business rather than telling their story. We want them to tell their story, their relatable story. And sometimes you have to dig into the why and what then and then what happened and why. And then you got to the real core objection and value, or the metric we were looking for. We were looking for hard facts, not just, hey, the service was great. We loved working with these guys.
But once people got comfortable, I was surprised how they would give me information that I would not in theory want to give out on my business. But then later I'm like, wait a minute, no, they're sharing information that works, and so then it changed my mind about if I'm in a mastermind about sharing info about my business, because I'm like, why do I have to keep it secret? It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah. Well, first off, there's plenty of business for everyone. Second off, everyone's too lazy to copy it anyway, even if you laid it out in front of them.
That is true too.
So, and third, it actually serves them well because it makes them look trustworthy, believable, and personable, and they can use it in their marketing as well. So there's actually a further benefit, if we provide the recordings for them, they can share them out.
Some of them, and you and I have talked about this off camera, many of them, without even asking, hey, can I be a guest on the podcast?
Yeah.
I mean, they're like, let's take this a next step. Or if I'd ask them, they'd be like, I'll give me a date and a time. I'll clear my calendar, because they understand the value of then them taking the gold that we've created, and then they can use it. It's like it's 3 layers deep. It's not just you being able to use it. They're now being able to show in a concrete way that their expertise, and I was kind of amazed at how it all kind of layers down.
Yeah, not only that, but there's a side benefit of business spun off of that for us, because because they reinforced why they did business with us. They're telling us why they did business, and they're probably thinking, oh, that did work. Why did I stop doing that?
Oddly enough, several of them, when I like gave like the name, they're like, "Oh, that's
the dinosaur."
The dinosaur people." They love what you do and they respect it and they use it, but there is something that wasn't like, well, you're that clown guy, right? No, it's like, oh, that's the dinosaur thing. Yeah. It's catchy. I was amazed. I was really surprised how many people were like, oh yeah, the dinosaurs. I'm like,
dinosaurs never cease to amaze me.
No, they really don't.
Important point though on the getting business out of it. Don't have that intent. Like, it's a great side benefit.
It's a byproduct.
Yeah, but if you go in with that intent, you're not going to have a good conversation.
People can see right through you then.
Yeah. All right, let's move on because we got some good stuff here. So the third type of content when you don't know what to write is industry news and tips. This one's typically a little more boring. This would be me giving like postal updates. The stamps went up 5 cents.
I always loved when I get those.
It should be the easiest content for you to come up with because you're talking about your own industry. But industry news or tips, but don't go overboard. We're trying to build the trust and likability factor to where the industry tips are irrelevant because they're just going to call you.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's like, I trust you enough. I've even had clients say, I want the baby. I don't want the labor pains.
Makes sense.
Sell the result. But if you have something useful, by all means, share it. I know I have a fair amount of listeners on here, at least like 3 or 4, because we only have, 50 listeners, but a fair amount of listeners that DIY the direct mail. So I do share tips that you can actually use yourself. I don't give you step by step because it's kind of pointless for most of our listeners.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4 is seasonal stuff, timely things, current events, anything that is relevant to this exact point in time or this exact geography. Like right now, we have the book coming out. Mm-hmm. Great. So we have updates around that. Turns out, it's no coincidence that all our content in the podcast during surrounding weeks is about newsletters, which is the topic of the book.
I didn't even see that coming.
But seasonal as well. So, Halloween's coming up, in a couple months, as I was noticing at Walmart when I went there to get something with one of our kids. We're not even halfway out of July, and Halloween's there. But, those are always fun things, and I have personal interest stories, and most people do around holidays as well, so there's good content there. And then the 5th one is reusing and repurposing. So we already gave a great example of that. Mm-hmm. The interviews, reuse, repurpose, use it in all different formats. I can take the book content and I can chunk it down into 5 podcasts. There's a lot of different ways
you don't need to take a mountain of information. You can keep it simple.
Yeah, and honestly, most people discount what they already have and what they do. Mm. I mean, you don't need a whole ton of information. Yeah. Behind the scenes, if you all could see it, each podcast, the notes are about yay big?
Yeah.
Maybe a half page.
They look much more impressive on this TV over here instead of the little piece of paper we usually have. I'm like, this is,
Yeah, here you go.
That's
Here's
usually
one
we
episode.
have. But you also don't notice that the reason that we got the TV is that we don't have to put these on, the glasses on. It's fine.
No. Once I put them on, I can't take them off.
It's weird with the headphones on. I don't like glasses with headphones on.
Oh, man.
I know.
We have about 20 minutes of content on this particular podcast, and I apologize. We delivered 8. All right. So, don't write a novel. You don't need a ton of content because people aren't going to consume a lot. People love short-form content. Yeah, we record 20-minute podcasts, but we're chopping them up into segments, and we're using them elsewhere.
Interesting things is what you're going to notice on social media when you follow his business. You're going to start seeing, wait a minute, I imagine you see it enough or hear it enough, you relate to, I heard on the podcast, or I've heard Justin talk about this. At some point, it hits home. They're like, well, he really is serious about that. That probably is, maybe I should look into that.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's not the right time. And when it becomes the right time, all that stuff you heard becomes relevant. And, I'm really good at filing information away in the back of my head that someday I may use. And it seems obscure at the time, but it comes out. Yep. I can think of examples in the DJ world. Yep. I can think of examples in this world. But I'm pretty good at that. Not everyone is, but someone had to put out that content. Like, I didn't learn it from nowhere, right? Mm-hmm. So that's you consistently putting out. All right, let's wrap this episode up. Again, here's your 5 types of content. Number 1, use personal one-to-one format when you're talking. Number 2, highlight client success stories, and interviews are a great way to do that. Number 3, industry news and tips. Important, but not my favorite. Number 4, seasonal and promotional hooks. And number 5, reuse and repurpose stuff you already have, or give it to someone else to repurpose it for you. That works as well. So that's it. These tips came directly from the book that should be out about the time this comes out. That's The Magic of Newsletter Marketing, 2nd edition. It's all about newsletters. You could apply it to all kinds of other stuff, but at the end of the day, it's an entire book on how to profitably use a print client newsletter every month in your business to get results. Plenty of examples in there, plenty of content. I think I sold it for whatever the cheapest Amazon would allow me to do it for. Or you can reach out to our office. We'll get you a copy. So if you need help with newsletters or anything else, by all means, reach out to our staff. Our phones don't ring like every 10 minutes around here, so we'd love to talk to you, or email or text. And we'll see you back at next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Triceratalks podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave your comments. For more information on how Jurassic Marketing Direct Mail can help grow your business, visit JurassicMarketing.com.